Hey everyone, and welcome back. If you're getting ready for the UPSC, especially those mains and prelims exams, staying on top of current affairs is super important.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And today we're diving into a case that's causing a lot of buzz, and it touches on themes you really need to know.
For sure.
Digital censorship, press freedom, the whole thing.
It's fascinating how a single cartoon in Vikatan, a Tamil magazine, sparked a controversy that goes way beyond just satire.
I know, right?
We're talking about potential government overreach, legal gray areas, the future of digital rights in India. It's all connected.
Exactly. And just so everyone knows, if you want to check out the source material yourself, this deep dive is based on reporting from The Hindu.
Good source.
So just to kind of set the stage, Vikatan publishes this cartoon about PM Modi and the deportation of Indian migrants from the U.S.
Okay.
It's satire.
Right.
Meant to make people think.
Right.
But it led to a complaint from the BJP, and then, bam, Vikatan's whole website is blocked.
Yeah. And that's what's so alarming. There was no official announcement about the blocking, no transparency, just silence.
It is really strange.
Makes you wonder, can a website just vanish in India without any explanation?
Right. And this isn't just some random blog. Vikatan's a well-known magazine.
Yeah, they've been around forever.
They, along with some pretty important political figures, condemned the blocking, saying it was a direct attack on press freedom in India.
Absolutely. And it forces us, especially those prepping for UPSC, to really look at the legal framework.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the government does have the power to block websites. It's all there in Section 69A of the IT Act of 2000.
Okay, so Section 69A, that's the one that allows the government to restrict websites that threaten national security, public order, that sort of thing.
Exactly. On the surface, it seems reasonable, right?
Yeah, I mean,
You don't want websites inciting violence or jeopardizing national security.
of course not.
But the process is super secretive. Websites often get blocked without even being told why.
No way.
No chance to appeal.
That's kind of scary. I mean, imagine putting all your energy into building a website, only to have it just disappear overnight.
I know, it's a huge concern.
What does that mean for digital rights if that can just happen?
And to really understand this, we need to unpack how website blocking actually works in India.
Yeah, because I'm sure it's not as simple as just like flipping a switch.
It's not. There are mechanisms, rules, and it's all evolved over time.
Okay, so let's break it down. How many ways can a website get blocked in India?
Well, there are two main ways: the 2009 IT blocking rules and the 2021 IT rules.
Two sets of rules.
Think of the 2009 rules like demolishing a building.
Oh, okay.
The entire website gets taken down, often based on recommendations from various ministries.
So like a bunch of different government departments can have a say.
Right, a committee reviews it, and if they agree, the Department of Telecommunications tells internet providers to block it.
Wow, so it's a whole process, but still done secretly.
Yes, but things changed a bit in 2021.
Oh, really? How so?
So instead of demolishing a building, imagine you could just target a single brick.
Interesting.
That's what the 2021 IT rules, specifically the intermediary guidelines, allowed.
So they got more specific.
They gave more power to certain ministries, letting them order the removal of specific content, not the entire website.
So more targeted, but how does that actually work? Can they really control what specific pages people see on a website?
That's where it gets tricky because most websites now use HTTPS encryption.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
So unless the website owner cooperates, it's pretty tough to block just one page.
So how does all of this relate to what happened to Vikatan? It sounds like they're caught between these two systems.
Exactly. They were initially blocked without any notice, which seems like it goes against the 2009 rules.
Uh-oh.
Then they got a notice, but it was under the 2021 rules. And get this, it was only about the cartoon, not the entire website block.
Wait, so they blocked the whole site, but only officially told them about one piece of content. That's so confusing and honestly a little shady.
It is, and this lack of clarity and transparency raises some serious concerns about potential censorship.
Yeah, like, was Vikatan really a threat to national security? Or was this a way to silence dissent?
Big questions, and ones that are relevant to all of us, especially those getting ready for the UPSC.
For sure.
We'll unpack the implications for press freedom and digital rights in part 2 of this deep dive.
Don't go anywhere. All right, so we're back, and we're continuing our deep dive into the Vikatan website blocking case.
Yeah.
Now we're getting to the really important part. What does this all mean for press freedom and digital rights in India?
It's easy to get lost in those technical details, like how websites actually get blocked.
Yeah, for sure.
But this Vikatan case makes us ask, what happens when the power to control online information is misused? And what happens to a democracy when satire can be silenced?
Yeah, especially since we know that the process is so secretive,
Right.
the government can issue these blocking orders without telling anyone, and there's very little accountability.
That's why the Vikatan case is so concerning.
Yeah, I see that.
It makes people worry that Section 69A is being used to silence critics of the government instead of protecting national security.
So it becomes less about protecting India and more about controlling what people see online.
Exactly. It creates what's called a chilling effect.
Chilling effect.
Journalists might start censoring themselves because they're afraid their website will be next.
That makes sense.
Bloggers, activists, anyone who disagrees with the government, suddenly the internet doesn't feel so free anymore.
Right. It feels like there's danger everywhere.
And it's that saying, sunlight is the best disinfectant.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that one.
This lack of transparency just makes people distrust the government.
Yeah, for sure.
It also weakens the idea of a free press, which is so important for a democracy.
Yeah, definitely.
Vikatan says their cartoon was political satire.
Right.
It was designed to provoke, to challenge those in power.
That's the whole point of satire, isn't it?
It's a tradition as old as democracy itself.
Yeah. I mean, satire has always been a way to hold powerful people accountable, especially when it's too dangerous to directly criticize them.
Right. It's like letting off some steam for society.
A pressure valve.
Exactly. And thinking about this from a UPSC perspective,
Yeah, good point.
this directly connects to GS2 syllabus topics like governance, transparency, the role of the media.
Okay, so this is important for the exam.
The Vikatan case is a perfect example of how these ideas actually work in real life.
So for our listeners who are studying for the UPSC, pay close attention.
This is serious stuff.
This isn't just some theoretical debate. This is the kind of stuff you might have to write about or talk about in your interviews.
It could make or break your score.
So it really raises the question, how do we balance national security with freedom of expression, especially online?
Yeah, it's tough, right?
On one hand, you don't want dangerous stuff spreading around the internet.
Nobody wants that.
But on the other hand, you don't want the government to have total control over what people can see and read.
And that's the problem. Critics say the government needs to be more transparent about what's actually a threat versus just something they disagree with.
Okay, so we need to know why they're blocking these websites.
There needs to be a clear line, and right now it's really blurry.
More transparency.
Okay.
I got that.
Right.
What else can we do to stop this from happening again? Are there ways to protect both national security and digital rights?
Experts have a few suggestions.
Oh, okay, let's hear them.
First, those blocking orders issued under Section 69A, those should be public information.
Oh, so we can see them.
Let everyone see why a website was blocked. Then there should be judicial review.
So the courts can look at it.
Let the courts decide if the block was justified.
So basically, more accountability, less secrecy. It seems pretty simple.
And we need clearer rules about digital content restrictions.
Because right now, it's all really vague.
The government needs to explain exactly what kind of content goes too far, and any restrictions should be in proportion to the threat.
Okay, so you can't use a sledgehammer to crack a nut.
It does feel like the IT Act itself needs to be updated.
It's really old.
It's over 20 years old. The internet was completely different back then.
I can't even imagine.
It's like trying to use a map from the horse and buggy era to navigate a superhighway.
Oh, wow.
Lots of experts are saying the IT Act needs a serious update to make sure there's accountability and transparency in the digital age.
Okay, so the law needs to change.
Yeah.
But what about ordinary people?
Yep.
Journalists, groups like civil society. Can they do anything about this?
They're essential.
Really?
Think about it. Vikatan spoke up. They got support from other media outlets. Politicians, even international organizations were concerned.
So they weren't alone.
That kind of pressure is important. It forces the government to pay attention, to maybe change their mind.
So this is where the listener comes in.
Right.
It's not just about passing the UPSC exams. It's about being a good citizen, understanding these issues, and speaking up when something's wrong.
Because digital rights are human rights.
That's a good way to put it.
And to protect those rights, we need to be constantly watching what's happening, and we all need to be involved. And don't forget, for those studying for UPSC prelims, this relates to topics like the Indian Constitution, fundamental rights, and current events.
Well, yeah, good reminder.
Don't underestimate how important this case study is.
So we talked about transparency, legal reforms, and citizen action.
Yeah.
But I'm still wondering what's going to happen to digital rights in India.
Yeah, that's the big question.
Is this the beginning of more censorship, or can we fight back?
Honestly, the answer depends on all of us.
Us.
The Vikatan case has brought these problems to light, but it's just one part of a much bigger fight for the future of the internet in India.
And that's a fight worth having. So listeners, as you continue to prepare for the UPSC, remember, this isn't just about memorizing facts.
It's about more than that.
It's about understanding how the government works, the balance of power, the values that are shaping India's future.
Exactly. You're not just preparing for an exam. You're preparing to be a leader, to serve your country, to make a difference. That's why understanding cases like this one with Vikatan is so important.
That's a great point. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the Vikatan website, Blocking Controversy.
We covered a lot.
As always, we encourage you to learn more, read the full article in the Hindu, and come to your own conclusions.
It's a fascinating case.
This is just the beginning.
We want to hear from you. What did you find interesting? What questions do you have? Leave a comment below, like this video, and subscribe for more deep dives into the issues that matter.
We'll see you next time.
And until then, good luck on your UPSC journey.
Okay, so welcome back, everyone. We spent some time unpacking this Vikatan case, right?
We have.
We've looked at the laws, how this affects press freedom and digital rights.
Right, a lot to think about.
Complicated stuff, but let's talk about solutions.
Yeah.
What can we actually do about this?
Right.
How do we stop this from happening again? How do we make sure the internet in India stays a place where people can speak freely?
You're asking the right questions, especially for our listeners who are working towards the UPSC.
All right, they're the future leaders.
This isn't just about understanding the problem, it's about coming up with answers.
Solutions.
What can India do to keep its people safe, but also protect their rights online?
Exactly. Because our listeners might be the ones making these policies, interpreting these laws someday.
It's true.
So what are the experts saying? What can we do?
Well, we've talked about a few things already.
Like transparency.
Huge. Yeah, those Section 69A blocking orders, they need to be public. Everyone should be able to see them.
Open it up.
Let everyone see why a website was blocked, and then there should be judicial review.
Okay, so the courts can get involved.
Let the courts decide if the government went too far.
More accountability, less secrecy makes sense. What about the IT Act itself? We said it was outdated, right? Like, what kind of updates would actually make a difference?
Think of it this way. The IT Act is like the rule book for the internet in India.
Okay, the rules of the road.
But the internet has changed so much since the year 2000.
Can't even imagine what it was like back then.
We need rules that are clear and updated and actually protect people's rights online.
Rules that make sense for today.
Experts are asking for stronger safeguards against censorship that isn't justified.
So no more blocking websites just because someone in the government doesn't like what they see.
Exactly.
So basically, we need a total revamp of the IT Act to make it work for the digital age.
Pretty much.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But, okay, laws are one thing, right?
Right.
What about actually enforcing them? Like, what role do regular people play in all of this? Journalists, civil society groups, what can they do?
They're so important.
Really?
Think about it. Vikatan spoke up. They got support from other media outlets, from politicians. Even international organizations were worried about what happened.
Wow, so it became a global issue.
That kind of public pressure makes a difference. It forces the government to listen and to maybe rethink what they're doing.
So this is where our listeners come in, right? It's not just about passing exams. It's about being an informed citizen, understanding what's going on, and speaking up when something's wrong.
It's about taking action.
Exactly. Because digital rights are human rights.
And protecting those rights means we all have to pay attention and be involved.
Okay, so we've got transparency, we've got updating the laws, we've got people speaking out. But I'm still thinking about the future.
What's next, right?
What does the future hold for digital rights in India? Like, is this just the beginning, or can we actually turn things around?
That's the question, isn't it? And honestly, the answer depends on all of us.
On us?
The Vikatan case has shown us the problems, but it's just one small part of a much bigger fight for what the internet will be like in India.
A fight for freedom.
And it's a fight we need to have.
So listeners, as you keep studying for the UPSC, remember, it's not just about memorizing facts.
There's more to it.
It's about understanding how things work, the balance of power, the values that shape India's future.
You're preparing to be leaders to serve your country, to make a difference.
And understanding cases like Vikatan is a big part of that.
Absolutely.
So that's it for our deep dive into the Vikatan website Blocking Controversy.
It's been a long one.
We encourage you to learn more, read the article. In the Hindu, come to your own conclusions.
This is just the starting point.
And we really want to hear from you.
Yes.
What stood out to you? What are you still wondering about?
Let us know.
Leave a comment below, like this video, and subscribe for more deep dives into the issues that matter.
We'll see you next time.
And until then, good luck on your UPSC journey.